Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to speak to you today about veterinary telemedicine. This form of medicine is being practiced on a regular basis, and it has been for quite some time. If you are consulting with a client via WhatsApp or email or text messaging or a phone call, then you are effectively practicing telemedicine. So what is telemedicine? Telemedicine is actually a subcategory of telehealth. Telehealth is defined as the remote practice of medicine. In other words, practicing while being physically removed from the patient. More specifically, telemedicine refers to the use of a tool, such as a smartphone or smartphone app, to provide telehealth services. Teleconsulting, teleconsultation, refers to veterinary interaction regarding a specific animal patient. So we're all practicing telemedicine, and this works really well for us because we can virtually assess as many animals as we want, whenever we want, from anywhere at any time. It also works very well for our clients. They feel like they're constantly connected to our practice. This is a great thing for our profession and is going to become integral in the way that we practice every day. The problem is that we currently don't have a way of practicing medicine that both reflects our individual professionalism as well as the integrity of our profession. For instance, many of us are probably texting our clients on a regular basis. I started texting clients about 5 minutes after the first iPhone came out in 2007. Maybe we should review our current approach to telemedicine. How many of us are charging for this service? If we're not charging for this service, what message does that give to our clients? That our opinion isn't worth anything? How many of us are keeping records of the dialogue that we generate with our clients? Meticulous record keeping is integral in the appropriate practice of veterinary medicine. How many times do we consult on a case involving a client or an animal with whom we haven't established an appropriate relationship? A veterinary client-patient relationship is the foundation of legal veterinary practice. How many times do we consult on an animal that is under the care of another veterinarian? Is that other veterinarian aware of the nature of the advice that we're giving to their client? Are we aware of the nature of advice that other veterinarians are giving to our clients? So, despite being extremely convenient for both animal owners and veterinarians, there are a number of problems that are associated with our current approach to telemedicine. As professionals, we're going to have to address these problems in order to practice telemedicine or optimize our practice of telemedicine in the future. Specifically, we'll need to do two things. First, we'll have to give our clients what they want. Secondly, we'll have to do it on our terms. This means that we must provide ourselves with a platform that enables us to practice veterinary medicine effectively, efficiently, ethically, and legally. So first, let's discuss what it is that our clients want. And this is an important thing to talk about because most animal owners are going to get what they want, get the information that they want, one way or another. If not from you, then maybe from somebody else, maybe from one of your competitors. First and foremost, animal owners want the process to be easy as texting or placing a phone call. Nowadays, videos can be acquired, edited, and sent within a few seconds using a smartphone. They want it to be instantaneous. Is my horse lame? Is this an emergency? Can I just give my cat some medication and just see how she does? Providing answers to questions like these on the spot goes a very long way with most clients. The guidance that we provide as veterinarians has to be informative. Preferably, it should be beyond what a friend or a layperson would provide. That said, clients are rarely seeking a specific diagnosis. In most cases, they're really just looking for some advice that's going to help guide them with respect to what decision they need to make next, what they're going to do next. Whoops. Let's see. Sorry. We're getting there. Of course, our clients are not going to want to pay for a service that's being provided at the other end of a phone. Still, any valuable service should have an associated expense. My practice performed a study a couple of years ago back in the U.S., and we conducted a survey to about 3,800 horse owners in the Southeast. And of the people that took our survey, 98% of the participants said that they would be willing to pay for telemedical services. Of course, if we're going to charge for the service, our clients are going to want detailed records that they can refer to at a later time. And like anything that we do on an official level, we should document our findings and store them appropriately. Finally, our clients want access, global access to professionals. And this is where it gets a little bit messy. We all know that animal owners are going to generally try to solicit the person that they think is going to provide the best advice with respect to the issue at hand. We would hope that their primary veterinarian would provide this or serve this purpose, but this isn't the case all the time. Which brings us to the second part of our discussion, what it is that veterinarians want and have to have in order to practice telemedicine. Well, we want it to be as easy for us as clients want it to be for them. Otherwise, we're just not going to do it if it's not easy. It's got to be quick. If we have to take a major portion of our day to try to perform a telemedical service, why, we might as well just make an appointment or drive out to the barn. Vets have to get something that we can actually review. And this requires that the client, number one, knows what we want to see, and number two, has proper video acquisition technique. I can tell you from experience, videos like this are very difficult to interpret. The process has to be legal. What does this mean? We as veterinarians in the technological age can provide an opinion on any animal at any time. We should realize that this opinion becomes the practice of veterinary medicine as soon as it leaves our lips. If somebody consults us and says, "What do you think about my dog?" The dog looks a little lame on the right front. That is effectively practicing medicine. And with the practice of medicine, there is a whole checklist of must-haves that have to occur on the backside in order for that to be above board. First on that list is what's called the veterinary client-patient relationship. This is a convention that is designed to protect the animal owner from fraudulent or inappropriate activity, medical activity. The appropriate practice of veterinary medicine can be very challenging to us, especially because our clients tend not to be very shy with respect to seeking a second opinion or an alternate opinion. At the very least, the veterinarian that has maintained that VCPR with the client should be aware of all opinions and all telemedical activity pertaining to that animal. The American Veterinary Medical Association has published a paper on telemedicine, and they encourage all U.S. veterinarians to review this. The goal of the AVMA is to provide room for inevitable growth of telemedicine, but also to maintain the legitimate and sound practice of medicine. Of course, we all want some privacy. The practice of medicine is difficult enough without having to worry about a client contacting you at the drop of a hat. As a vet, you want to be there for your client, but you also want to be able to dictate when you want to work and when you don't want to work. Veterinarians also don't want to worry about procuring or tracking down payments for telemedical services. A good telemedical platform should do all of these tasks on behalf of the practitioner. Finally, records are an important part of any interaction that we have with a client, but the records can also expose the veterinarian to legal ramifications, especially if the service has been performed outside the realms of a viable VCPR. Records of each and every consultation should be stored securely, off-site, and be within the account of that client. Veterinarians that don't practice medicine under a viable VCPR in the U.S. are not allowed to provide telemedical advice with respect to the diagnosis or treatment of an animal. They're not allowed to prescribe prescriptions to animals. If they do these things, they are at risk of losing their veterinary license. There was a veterinarian just last year, about this time last year, from Massachusetts, who received a text message on his phone. It was a photograph of a wound on a horse. He said, "Oh, I've seen a lot of these. No problem. Just do this, 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 and this." Didn't charge for it. It was via text message. He sends it back to the client. The horse dies. It had a strange bacteria that horse got septic and it ended up dying. The client sues the veterinarian. Now, by the time it went to court, which was this past summer, a horse had stepped on the veterinarian's phone, broke the phone. So while they're in court, they couldn't establish that this veterinarian had ever seen this horse or even knew this client. Didn't charge for the service, but it doesn't matter. When he gave his opinion and said, "This is what I think it is, do this," he is practicing medicine, and he did not have that checklist. The demand for telemedical services in veterinary medicine has quickly moved this area of interest to the forefront of the industry. Dozens of telemedical service companies have already been created. Many have already come and gone. This is an industry that is poised to explode over the next few years, particularly within the equine industry. It's important that we all get on board to ensure that it is practiced in a way that is both valuable to our clients, but also compliant with our veterinary regulations. Thank you.